Well, I think we can get this party started. Hope everyone's doing well today. All right, thanks for joining me today. I am flying solo today. You don't want to see just me and, Pickle Rick hanging out. But, I had to have somebody else in the stream with me today. So, appreciate you all being here today. It's not entirely a very sexy topic, but, it's one that I think that musicians probably tend to overlook, anyone in business. Tends to be a little bit more on top of certain things like this, but it is important to know. And we do find that we come across this a lot, or a fair amount anyway, through working with other musicians at 11. Is really what kind of person are you? Building your character. I'll say it up front. Some of the content that we do share comes from one of the books that we recommend to our artists, and that is Business Made Simple by an author called Donald Miller. I'm going to drop it in the chat here for you guys. And he talks about 10 characteristics, but we're going to do 5 this week and 5 next week. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a preview as to what's coming down the pipe. But we didn't want to do all 10 of them in one video. That could get really long. It might make more sense to even split these up into 3, but I think 5 and 5 is probably just fine, right? So here's the link at Amazon if anybody's interested in checking that out. But that is part of the first chapter, kind of about character building, being a better person to work with. So let's just dive right in here. If anybody has any questions along the way, drop them in chat. I'm happy to address them as I can. And let's see. All right. So just kind of go through them one by one. I will put them on the screen so you'll be able to see what we're covering. And I got some good notes, I think, and how we kind of did a little bit of translation ahead of time. A lot of this stuff is, again, kind of corporate-y, kind of businessy, but the idea is that we want to translate it for musicians. Creatives are going to have an easier time if we can kind of put it into a different context and just kind of help you grasp those concepts a little easier. So the first one that we're going to talk about today, I have so many banners on the screen, oh my gosh, is seeing yourself as an economic product on the open market. Now, when I read this for the first time as a creative, even though, I enjoy business books, which is kind of a geeky side of me, but I was like, what the hell does that supposed to mean, right? You're like, that is not a simple tip to grasp, So, let's just kind of break it down a little bit and it'll make a little more sense as we get into it. So what is an economic product, first of all? Well, it's something that you buy in order to get more money in return. So think of it like a stock. You would buy a stock because you're going to buy low and sell high and hopefully make money on it. You want to see a good return on that investment and ideally come up ahead of where you started versus behind. We might be on the brink of whatever this potential, recession might be right now. And that's kind of where we don't want to be in terms of economic product. But luckily as a musician, you get to control your economic value. So again, act like a good stock, not a bad stock is kind of the short version of this. But ideally, and I'll explain a couple things here, and then I'll give some examples to help make this a little bit simpler to think, to grasp. Excuse me, I'll spit that out. So really, if you think about it, the better the investment you are for music businesses and partnerships, say venues, say labels, whoever you're dealing with, the more those connections will double down on investing in you again and again. So be a good business partner. Be really good at, helping the person that's taking a chance on you to make more money. If you start to lose money for them, that means you're not a good economic product. So if you over deliver every time, you're like, I'm always going to make sure I'm taking care of the other person ahead of myself, that is going to translate into more business for you down the road. Um, your value will go up over time, and your pay and your business will grow over time if you over deliver. So, and then on the opposite side of that, if you under deliver, those same connections will start to pull money away from you. They will invest in entertainers that are performing well. So be on the right side of that transaction. Otherwise, you will lose out to the guys that are doing good on that label's roster or on that venue's plate. So I kind of gave these examples already, but here's as one example, venues. When a venue pays you for performing, they're hoping that your entertainment for the evening will make them what they are paying you and then some. Always, we have an article about this on the 11 blog regarding whenever you book a show, think about what you're going to bring to think about the venue first. Go to the booking agent or go to the venue owner and say, hey, look, we want to play here, but what do you need us to do at that night to be, provide a good return? Do we need this many people at the show? Do we need to sell this much at the bar? How much marketing can we do for you? And how do we make the venue look good? If you put the venue first, make the venue look good, and you are just there as the entertainment, that venue is going to love you. They're not there to say, here's a place you can play. They're there to make money themselves. They are also a business. So be a good business partner. And that economic value that you bring to that venue will increase over time. You can charge more. They'll want to book you more and more. Other venues might catch word that you are a good investment and will take care of you as well. So over time, those are the long-term games. You want to make sure that you're staying ahead of that curve. In regards to a record label, for example, when a record label signs you, they're fronting you the money. Even though we're not a fan of it, they front you the money to record and sell music. That's why you're there. They're hoping that when they invest in your career, that it'll come back to them 100% and then some. They want to make sure that they're getting everything they put towards you back. And then what is the, 2x, 10x, 50x, however many times they can make that back. That means that they will keep you or they'll find more value in you. So make sure that you're doing your part of the agreement as well, and make sure that you're taking care of everybody else before yourself. And again, it'll come back to you full-fold. And one more example was sync licensing as an example. If you want to see your music in TV, in movies, in trailers, when someone uses that music to match the right mood of their movie, TV, or trailer, a TV show or trailer, they're hoping that the video and your music create the right emotional response or the right relationship with the audience in order to pay for the production of that content and then some. Obviously, when you make a movie or TV show, you're putting money into it, and then ideally, whether it's streaming, whether it's cable, whether it's the movie theaters, or purchases through movie stores or TV stores, all that money has to come back. When you hear someone making like 25 million on opening weekend at the theater, that's part of that return. How well was your music placed, and how well did your music work to make that happen? I'm sure it played a small part in that. So the same goes for other things. I mean, it's not always just about monetary value. If a fan is loyal to you, be even more loyal back to them, and that's how you gain your true fans. If a fan or a partner supports what you're doing, support them even more in some way with the project that they're doing, and they'll support you in return. Always give more to get more is really the overall idea here. And then actually, we do have a couple links I can share with you here, but these are similar to, these are articles we have on our site that talk more about that type of thing and will kind of give you some ideas as to how you can pursue your next live gig or, interact with your next audience in this way. So there are those for you. But that is step one, or bullet point one in today, and that was a mouthful. So I think that might be one of the longest ones too. So So number two then is see yourself as a hero, not a victim. You might come across this also again, and this is in the Business Made Simple book, but there are other books out there that talk about making your marketing a story. And really, every story has four roles: a hero, a guide, a victim, and a villain. If you go to any movie, from Star Wars to even the Simpsons movie. Let's go right down to down to something like that. I'm really scrapping for movie titles here, but they all have these roles, and these roles exist because these roles exist in life. We do these every day. Each of us plays these roles at some point, and I can get into that a little bit more. But so the idea here is that as a victim, or as a hero or victim, you can almost tell how someone I'm sorry. You can tell just by listening to how someone talks about themselves if they are in a hero mindset or a victim's mindset. And this is similar to growth mindset and fixed mindset, if you've heard those terms before. But do they sound like they talk like they're in control of their own life or their future? Do they believe that their fate has dealt them a bad hand? Do they believe others are responsible for their failures and always blaming others? It's never their fault. Do they believe the world or the stars or the universe are aligning to conspire against them? Um, if that's the way they talk and they think the world is, they're not going to succeed. And I say that as they, but also if that's how you are, take a look at yourself. It's like, am I always a downer to myself? Do I always think other people are, you know, in control of my life? Well, then it's kind of a victim mentality, and a good one to say, all right, time to take control of my life. There's a lot going on there. So it's a lot to unpack. I know. I'm not here to, you know, not pointing fingers. I don't know anybody right now off the top of my head who would be like that. Maybe me. I don't know. Could be the case. um, but getting hung up on past failures and tragedies and things that have happened in your life from 5 years ago, and they're still telling that story because it's kind of like a woe is me type of thing. Don't hang on to the past. Try and think about the future. So that's a good way to look at it too. So again, yeah, there are four, like I said before, there are four roles in this. Hero is usually who the story is about. They're trying to accomplish something. That's what we want all our musicians to be like when we work with them as in career coaching. You're trying to accomplish music as a career. So how do we do that? There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be wins. There's going to be losses, failures, successes. That's just the way every movie and every story goes, real life or Hollywood. A villain is usually the character who's trying to stop the hero. How many Darth Vaders are there out there? I don't know. Guide is usually the seasoned character trying to help the hero win or grow. So think of like Yoda is usually the one that comes to mind quickest. Star Wars is really easy to pick on because it's very villainous and heroish. So and then the last victim, the character who actually usually needs to be rescued, and they kind of play a small role to make the hero look good, and and the villain look bad. They're not really there to transform and become better and accomplish something like the hero is. So that's kind of the short version. Not the short version, but really, what you want to do is focus on putting all yourself into that positive mental attitude. Why did this happen to me? Can I learn from this? Can I do better because of this? Versus I got beat down and I'm not going to get back up. That's really the moral of the hero versus victim story. So, all right. So on to number 3, knowing how to de-escalate drama. Now this is pretty strong in the music community, I would imagine. It can happen a lot. There's a lot to be said for working with different business partners, vendors, other musicians. It can be fun to deal with that kind of stuff. But drama is really about bringing the attention to yourself. And if the focus is on you or a single person, like in the band or in, whatever your ecosystem or your bubble is, the goal is no longer about trying to achieve something. It is now being all the focus is on that person, not the goal. So make sure that you try to always put what you're trying to do ahead of any kind of like drama. So in this case, what is drama? Well, it's overreacting to the wrong way to criticism. Like if someone's going to talk about, it's like, hey, I love your song, but here's some feedback. I will agree. It's hard to take feedback. Most people cannot take feedback or any kind of constructive criticism. It's hard to run with that because we all like to think that we have created the perfect thing and no one's going to tell you otherwise. But it's better to get that consensus from fans, from people in the industry, maybe other musicians, to say, hey, this song is awesome, but it could really be more awesome if you do this or think about doing this. Take feedback with a grain of salt and really understand why someone might be contributing those thoughts to your project. Um, Drama is also overreacting to a failure or a setback, like, hey, that song flopped, or hey, that tour flopped, or that recording session was awful. Don't give it too much drama and say, stomping out of the room or picking up drinking, and going totally overboard. Give it the right amount of drama that it needs. Take a day, breathe, and then get back to it. Always approach these things with level heads. It can be exhausting for people around you, whether it's audio engineers, label execs, tour people, sound people, or light people, whoever you're working with. It can be exhausting for them to deal with somebody who's really dramatic and overreacting to anything else going on in the room, and that can also be very detrimental to your career, and it can be detrimental to anything, music or business. So remember to stay calm and level-headed. It's important for you, your career, and making it farther down the road. So I should say most people will respect other people who react a little under, not over, the level of drama a situation deserves. So try to keep a level head. Think about the example that I've heard was, how calm was Sully, the guy who landed the plane on the Hudson. No overreaction, went through the mental checklist and was able to save everybody on board. Now, most of the time, none of us have that kind of situation that we have to deal with, but that's to the extreme. But think about, like, just getting out of your own head and, like, is this safe? Am I gonna screw up a relationship or something else because of my reaction? So take a moment for that. So number 4 on our list, we're almost done. I know I'm talking a lot for each one, but I appreciate you guys hanging out. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I would love to address things if I can. The last one, or the fourth one, excuse me, not the last one. Accepting feedback as a gift, not as criticism. I think I kind of touched on this a little bit up in the drama section. But feedback is hard for anyone to accept. Again, especially creatives. We love what we do. No one else can say that this should be changed, or it's really about collaboration. Even if you're not collaborating with somebody, your fans might want to provide input, industry people might want to provide input, other musicians might have something good to say, and that feedback can actually make your project, music experience better. So don't always think that you always have the right answer. And it's important too, like if you have a group of people that you trust in your bubble, like you have your entourage, more or less, think about those people. Like, I trust you guys. You have my best interests in heart. Ask me or ask them on a regular basis, monthly, weekly, quarterly, however you want. Create a feedback loop, it's called. And even if it's something where you like say, all right, every Monday or the first of every month, let's schedule a feedback session. And just put it on the calendar. And I have questions, like, have you seen me acting unprofessionally anytime? Have you noticed that I've been missing something? What am I doing that I can improve on? Actually ask for the feedback and be prepared for it so you can take that and grow. That'll help with a growth mindset. You won't get to a point where you're fixed and you're shutting down every time someone says, hey, that could be better if, or you could be better if. You don't want to, throw up a block and say, hey, this isn't going to happen. I'm already perfect. you suck. So, that's where creativity and growth ends. And that's usually where a career will end. So make sure that you know how to accept that feedback as a gift. No one's out to criticize you. They're out to help you. And if you establish people that you trust as a internal feedback system, that might help you deal with the external people, like other fans and stuff, people you might just encounter on the street, like, hey, I love that work, but what, so the better you can do that, the more powerful you'll be when it comes to dealing with other people in the music industry. And if you don't ever want feedback, you can't experience the growth. So I think I kind of mentioned that already, but your career kind of stagnating or even crashing and burning because you're not willing to grow. So make sure that's something you focus on. And last but not least, last of this week, there are 5 more next week. I know you'll love that. But knowing the right way to engage in conflict. Again, kind of similar to the last couple. You really aren't going to grow unless you go through conflict. If you have a career journey that has no conflict or no issues or no challenges, you're not going to grow. That means that things aren't going to change. You're not going to be a hero on that journey. You're not going to say, hey, I'm transforming because I'm going through challenges. And they say in a story, the idea is to make the character or the hero want something and then spend the next hour and a half throwing things at him or taking stuff away from him that's preventing him from getting that, or her from getting that. That's really what any story or movie is about. Life is like that. It's like, hey, I want this, and then the universe is like, make it a challenge. If you overcome everything, if you've proven that you're not gonna fall and not get back up, that is when we get to succeed and get to the end of our road and challenge and move on to the next story in our life. So I got a little off tangent there, but so yeah, if you're ever going to succeed, the path to that success will always be through conflict. It's never easy, but it's fun. This whole thing is really more about the journey than it is the destination. You probably heard that before. I will test from experience that it is very much the case. So conflicts, here's some conflicts you might experience as a musician or a band or as a DJ or as a producer. Poor performance of a band member or road crew member. You might have to have some FaceTime and say, hey, you've always been great at doing something. You haven't been the same lately. I know you can do better. What's going on? Is there something in your own life that's going on? That might get a little personal, but don't immediately write somebody off because they went from good performance to bad performance, or they're just not who they usually have been. It's important to really nurture those relationships with people that you work with on a regular basis and not just burn them. Unmet expectations with a vendor or venue who didn't do something, maybe they honestly forgot to do something in a contract, and you want to make sure that you get compensated or they make any adjustments for that. If they did forget it, maybe they're like, oh, that was actually an issue. We apologize, and how do we fix this? So don't always think that someone's out to get you, but man, again, it's kind of a dramatic thing. Go after it with the right amount of drama, and have those adult heart-to-hearts if you need to with people you work with or organizations or vendors or venues that you might be working with. Another one possibly could be budget overages or unexpected expenses. These might cause a major problem while on the road or threaten a studio recording project. I believe over budget is a very common thing, especially in recording or touring. It can be hard to manage that stuff because you might set plans, go on the road, and the show didn't perform properly. It's just like any other business product or service. You kind of have to. It might be easier to set a bar low, like here's a low budget, and then maybe overperform. But it would be a learning experience the first few times to figure out what works and what doesn't work there. And then another thing that might be kind of similar is miscommunications or misunderstandings that cause tension during a tour or studio session or other band work. Sometimes people on the same project play games of telephone, and things don't get translated properly, and we want to make sure that people aren't like fostering ill will towards someone else because they got the wrong message. So make sure communication is clear, concise, and transparent, and always flowing. So, but things to remember when you're experiencing conflict is to expect conflict. It's just a natural byproduct of collaboration and progress. It's healthy, and it's going to help you. And every time you overcome it, you're going to move up one more step over the ladder and be more comfortable as a person working with people in the music space. Again, kind of with the drama thing, control your emotions and stay in control. Things get bad when your emotions get hijacked during a conflict situation, and you're like, I'm going to fly off the handle. You probably have had managers like that already. You've had bandmates like that. You've had lawyers, legal teams, accountants, record label reps, whatever. Someone's going to fly off the handle, but try to keep it level head again. And again, I kind of go back to, if you have to confront someone like, about poor performance or something, make sure you're affirming the person first. Like, this is not like you. There's something going on that's affecting your interactions, your performance in the band. How can we fix that? Or I'm not saying how can we fix it, but like, what's going on? Like, is there something we can do to help? Be supportive, be empathetic. You don't know that there's something else going on first. So it's important to kind of see things from their perspective before you make any worse off assumptions. And last, understand that you could be wrong. Your idea of what is happening may be not correct and as precious as you think. But remember, the point of conflict is progress and not proving that you're right. Everyone can be wrong. And always make sure that everything that comes out of conflict is said, that's still our goal. We're progressing towards that. How can we resolve the issue here to get you, or get all of us together to that goal? So, conflict again is healthy, and the point of it is progress. So, hopefully that helps make it a little more comfortable. I don't like conflict, but you know what? I don't think I know anyone who does. So, the last big thing that I guess really at this point is to just kind of do a quick summary wrap up. And if you have any questions, again, drop them in the chat. I'm happy to address them, or any comments. Or if you're certain people from Denmark and you still want to drop nuggets in the chat, that's what happens if you stick around this long. So anyway, so quick wrap up. First one was, see yourself as an economic product on the open market. Act like a good stock and give back more than what someone invested in you. See yourself as a hero, not a victim. Set goals, transform into a better version of yourself, and have a positive mental attitude along the way. Know how to de-escalate drama. Stay calm, keep a level head, and give the right amount of drama to any situation you encounter. Accept feedback as a gift and not as criticism. Probably the most important from my experience in the music industry. Feedback and ego and just staying humble and level-headed. Those are big ones in the music space. But establishing a regular feedback loop internally with trusted advisors, and scheduling regular feedback sessions to be proactive and keep improving. These are things you set up to make sure that you are the better person in the room, and you're like, I know that I can always be better. So make sure that you're always staying in the self-awareness mode. And last but not least is know the right way to engage in conflict. Work together to solve problems between people and situations, and people will be more respectful of your ability to do this. Again, a lot of these are rare traits that people don't have in business, in creative, in entertainment, in anything, personal lives included. It's all around all the time, and those of us who can manage these things will come out ahead and better because of it. And I want all of you who are pursuing music to be in the same boat. Again, it was great to have everybody here today. I appreciate you tuning in. Just a little bit quick, the usual shameless plug. I'll drop a comment here in the command in the chat. 11 is here to help any musicians who are looking for to pursue music in a. Oops, that one didn't. Oh, it worked. Anyway. 11 is here to help anyone looking to pursue music full time as a profession. A big thing we do is really strive for what we call middle class musicians. So, if you are producing music and you have fans and you have income because of it, you are doing great. It doesn't mean that you have to be Taylor Swift. You don't have to be Tiesto for this particular audience. But if you can support a family or provide your half of a family-based income to your household because of music, that is really the successful goal here. And we are here to cheer you on, and support you and guide you in any way possible. So um, I'll be, I would encourage you guys to check out Toronto211.com. And since I have not seen any questions, I'm going to say that we are done for today. But again, next week we will do another 5 of these, and I look forward to seeing you guys back on here then. So until then, have a great rest of your week. For all of those of you who are streaming, have great streams this week, and we will see you guys on Monday. Thanks a lot.